What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, surprise, surprise, guys. People within the SEC and staff within the SEC now believe that they don't have a case and they don't have a winning case against Ripple. I mean, is it that surprising? I mean, we've been saying this from day one, that this was a sham lawsuit. Jay Clayton bringing this, suing Ripple on the last day of the administration and just basically passing this huge, non-fraud securities case and just dropping it on the desk of the new administration. It made no sense, right? There was definitely conflicts of interest there from Jay Clayton and William Hinman and others at the SEC, and it just didn't look right from day one, right? Lawyers within the XRP community like John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan and just other people within the XRP community have been digging up dirt and coming up with evidence, one thing after another, basically painting this picture that the conflicts of interest within the SEC with the Ethereum Alliance, JP Morgan now coming, it's all these things coming to light that are painting this picture that we've basically been saying this for a couple months now, but now it's all these facts are basically coming to light, and it's looking pretty, damning for the SEC, JP Morgan, and the Ethereum, the Ethereum Alliance, right? The people like Joe Lubin and other people working for Ethereum. I mean, at this point, you can't argue with these facts. And it's pretty crazy to think that this lawsuit was used as a weapon. It wasn't, it was never about XRP and XRP being a security. This was a way to stop or slow down Ripple's business. And that's the bottom line. Now that we're seeing that, JP Morgan was backing Ethereum basically from day one, and that, Ripple and XRP were never, they said they were never competitors with Ethereum, but all of a sudden, since obviously, Ripple is going after a $400 trillion market, right? You think JP Morgan or Ethereum wanted to get some of that piece of that action? I mean, obvious. It's pretty obvious, right? So for them to basically, at this point, we should know that JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and all the big banks, nothing happens in the world of finance without them either backing it or okaying it. I mean, they're the big power behind this financial world that we live in, right? So let's get into it. So Digital Asset Investor posted this, and this is exactly what I'm saying here. Reminder from my father, the official father of the Digital Asset Investor channel, nothing happens in the world of finance without JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. So do you think that we're just going to sit there and let Ripple become one of the biggest companies in the world without them at least getting a piece of it or, controlling it? No, obviously not, right? They were going to try, right? And they did their best, obviously. Goldman Sachs, if you guys know, Gary Gensler was one of the youngest board members at Goldman Sachs when I think he was like 20 or 21 years old. So he's basically been involved with Goldman Sachs his whole life, and now he is the chair at the SEC. You think there's any conflicts of interest there? JP Morgan, I've talked about on this channel, the amount of money laundering and fraud that they've committed in the last 30 plus years has been outstanding. It's been crazy, right? The fact that they get away with this stuff over and over again just tells you that they control these regulators. They control the politicians. They make hundreds of billions of dollars with all these fraudulent instruments that they use within the banking system and the finance system, and they get fined 20 million here, 15 million here. When you're making hundreds of billions of dollars, a $20 million fine is it's like fining us, like someone like me, like 20 cents. You think that's going to really stop them from doing all these illegal activities? No, it's not. Obviously not. They own the politicians that make the laws. They own the SEC and regulators that supposedly make the rules. So obviously they're going to do what they want. I mean, if you don't see that by now, then you're just either choosing to be blind or you're blind, right? At this point, it's plain as day, right? And the fact that JP Morgan is now being seen as basically, the secret owners behind Ethereum, it proves our point that the XRP community has been pointing out, for months during this lawsuit, that this just never was about XRP being a security, because that proved to be a losing argument from day one. It was all about slowing down Ripple and slowing down Ripple's business so that JP Morgan and Ethereum could try to steal their business. Basically, they tried to railroad them to steal their business. And meanwhile, it didn't work, right? With Ripple, you think about it, during this lawsuit, it's almost a year and a half now. During the lawsuit, they've just gone bigger and grown bigger all around the world. Yes, they have obviously slowed down business for them in the U.S., but all around the world, they couldn't grown if they tried, right? They're huge now in the UAE. They're huge in Southeast Asia. They're huge in Japan. They're huge in the obviously European countries, in the UK. Now it's the US. It's the final, obviously the biggest, but the final chapter in Ripple growing as a company. And as soon as this lawsuit is over, you got to, for sure that, these banks and institutions within the US are getting ready. And they've been piloting and testing Ripple's products for years, and they know it works, right? So JP Morgan and Ethereum and their competitors can try all they want to steal Ripple's business, and they're going to try for sure. And I have a couple of things to show you that they obviously have been trying to steal their business in the last couple of years, but they have failed, right? This is over. The game has been won by Ripple, and the SEC has basically now been proven to be corrupt and fraudulent too. I mean, is that a surprise? No. So look at this that I saw here. XRP Wins tweeted this out. May 2018, JP Morgan applies for a blockchain patent described as exact copy of Ripple. So this is in May 2018, right? 2 months later, after JP Morgan applies for this blockchain patent that is supposedly the same exact thing Ripple is trying to use with XRP, 2 months later, Bill Hinman comes with his Ethereum free pass speech. You think that's a coincidence? No, obviously not, right? Now you give Ethereum clear guidance in the market, and then JP Morgan, but obviously backing Ethereum, comes out with the consensus and Quorum and JP Morgan coin, and they're basically trying to steal Ripple's business. And in the same time trying to railroad, using the SEC, trying to railroad Ripple. And at that point, they couldn't come with a case against XRP and Ripple because they had an internal investigation within the SEC, and they came to the conclusion that there was no case, basically, to come against Ripple. And that was in 2018. And then all of a sudden, 2 years later, right? 2 years later in 2020, on the last day of Jay Clayton's administration, he sues Ripple. Walking out the door, he sues Ripple and then passes it on to the next administration and says, have fun with this one, right? Do you think there's any conflicts of interest there? You think there was any wrongdoing or corruption there? I mean, it's pretty, obvious. Anybody that says otherwise is just trying to be, they're just blinded by the hypocrisy that they see on a daily basis, right? So, I mean, the timeline here, 2018, JP Morgan applies for blockchain patent. 2 days later, Bill Hinman gives ETH a free pass, right? So that opens the door for JP Morgan Coin and Quorum and all the companies that are basically competitors with Ripple to start basically stealing Ripple's business. And then what happens right after the lawsuit gets dropped on Ripple? And then look, this exactly. This is Stefan Huber posted this exactly like John Deaton said. It was always about buying time. The lawsuit was never. The lawsuit was the weapon, and Gary Gensler is dragging it out, even though he knows he's going to lose, until his investors tell him to let it go. Now look at this here. Now, I talked about Quorum and Consensus, obviously JP Morgan backed. Onyx by JP Morgan. Now, what does this company do? Digital solutions enabling instant transfer and clearing of multi-bank, multi-currency assets on a permission distributed ledger. Does that sound familiar? That's exactly what Ripple's doing. And when did this, when did this company get formed? Copyright 2021 JP Morgan Chase. So obviously they come with a lawsuit. The SEC comes with the lawsuit on Jay Clayton's last day of the administration. They slow down Ripple's business in the U.S. And then, surprise, surprise, a year later, JP Morgan comes out with a competitor with Ripple trying to steal their business. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious, guys. But like I said, it's not going to stop Ripple. Ripple has been building their platform for the last 8 years. A company just can't come in here and think they can just steal everything Ripple's been doing for the last 8+ years. It just doesn't work that way, right? And let's hear what Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, says about the JP Morgan coin and consensus and quorum. And is he afraid of the JP Morgan coin? Is he afraid that they're going to steal Ripple's business? Let's see what he says about it.
Option in the U.S. and the JP Morgan coin made headlines in the fintech space a number of weeks ago. Is that similar to traditional cryptocurrency? Because to me, it doesn't sound like a decentralized product, even though cryptocurrency promotes decentralization. So what are the differences with what we traditionally consider crypto?
Well, let me start by saying I think it's great for the blockchain and crypto industry to have players like JPM leaning in. Thumbs up. Yep. That's great. That's the only nice thing I'm going to say about this. Okay, so I got asked this last week. I was speaking at a Morgan Stanley conference, and somebody asked me, there was this set of headlines about, about the JPM coin. Right. And this guy was from Morgan Stanley who was interviewing me. I said, so is Morgan Stanley going to use the JPM coin? And he's like, probably not. And so, well, is Citi going to use the JPM coin? Is B of A going to use the JPM coin? Is PNC? And the answer is no. And so does that mean we're all going to have these different coins? And does that mean we're back to where we are, where there's lack of interoperability? So I don't get it. One more quick thing on the JPM coin. So let's think about this. The JPM coin, they announced for institutional customers, if you give them $1 in deposits, they'll give you a JPM coin that you then can move within the JPM ledger. Wait a minute, just use the $1.
Right.
Well, I really don't understand. If you're just moving it within the JPM ledger, and it has to be dollar to dollar, a one-to-one backing, it honestly doesn't I don't understand what problem that solves. Now, back to my first answer, look, if it solves the problem of JPM being associated as they're leaning into crypto, yay. Mm-hmm. That's all I got.
Right. and understood. And I think that's confusion. Not only look, if this doesn't work out, you could be a comedian. So that's always a good thing if if blockchain doesn't work out. But I think that's really what the issue is, even for the broader audience that does understand the technicalities like we do. It still doesn't solve that problem of scalability. So do we have to fix our payment system and focus on the underlying technology? Is that the answer?
Well, I mean, to your point around scalability, when I hear scalability, I think of two things. One is transaction throughput, but it's also interoperability.
Right. You think Brad Garlinghouse is afraid of the JP Morgan coin? You think they're afraid of JP Morgan? Obviously not. Like I said, Ripple's been building out their platform for the last 8+ years. They're ready to go, right? JP Morgan coin and any other stable coin that's trying to steal Ripple's business, they don't understand it's all about trust, right? It's about, like he was saying there, if JP Morgan had a coin, obviously other banks aren't going to use JP Morgan coin. They're going to need that bridge asset, that neutral bridge asset in between to move money, right? It's all about trust. And that's the biggest thing that JP Morgan, I guess, doesn't understand, right? The last thing I want to talk about here is something I've always said in the world of digital assets, in the world of cryptocurrency. People always say, "Oh, I can't understand blockchain. It's so confusing. It's never going to make it because we can't understand the technology, right?" But I always said, email. There's all the technology and the coding behind email, and using a TV and computers and the internet. People don't know. Everyday people don't know the technology behind these things, but they know how to use them, right? That's what that matters, right? If they make it where it's you can use it without understanding the outlining technology behind it, that's all that 99% of the people need to know, right? And Dylan actually on Twitter here, says it perfectly. 99% of people don't understand how their car works, but they depend on it on a daily basis. 99% don't understand how their phone works, but depend on it daily. 99% won't understand utility tokens and cryptocurrency powering the future of finance and Web3, but will depend on them daily. So exactly what I'm saying here. You don't need to understand the technology behind these things to be able to use them, right? Like I said before, people use email every day. Do you understand the technology behind it? No, you just know you have to write the letter, you hit the send button, and it goes to your buddy, across the world instantly. When people say this technology is way too confusing, it's never going to make it because it's so confusing, that's just, that doesn't make any sense to me, right? just the coders and the software engineers, yeah, they need to understand, blockchain technology and how all this stuff works. But the everyday person, all they need to know is how to use it. And that's why this technology is going to be so huge, because they're going to make it so easy that an everyday person can just, flip on their computer or their phone, and they're, right into the metaverse, right into Web 3.0. You can, like, if you look like a exchange like Coinbase, it's all user friendly, very easy to use. These aren't that complicated, these things, right? And when people just try to overcomplicate these things, it makes no sense to me. It should make no sense. It should make no sense to you, right? This technology obviously is confusing. I mean, I've been in this for about 5 years now, and I still don't even understand the whole technology behind blockchain. But the thing is, you don't need to, right? Yeah, educate yourself and learn as much as you can, but that's because you want to learn. But the everyday person, when the Web 3.0 comes out, the everyday person does not need to know, what blockchain technology is or how it affects the world. They're just going to know how to use the products. And that's the bottom line, guys, right? So I will end the video there, guys. But remember, please like and subscribe and leave a comment down below. But also remember, I am not a financial advisor. This is not for financial. Do not take anything I write or say as financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. And thanks, guys, and we will see you on the next one.